Aaron wiped his hands on the rag, leaving streaks of grease on his shirt. The sun was just beginning to sink behind the tall metal spires of Colony Delta, painting the sky in shades of orange and purple. He stood in the open workshop at the edge of the mining district, staring at the drone he had been repairing all afternoon. Its metal frame was scratched and dented from weeks of heavy use. But with a few adjustments, it would fly smoothly again. Aaron loved machines. Ever since he was a child, he had been fascinated by how things worked. He liked the way circuits and gears fit together, creating movement, purpose, and sometimes, magic. He preferred tinkering with robots and drones over talking to people most days. But today, something unusual was about to interrupt his quiet evening. "Hey, Aaron!" A cheerful voice called from the workshop entrance. Aaron looked up. Leora stood there, her hands on her hips, smiling in that mischievous way she always did. She was taller than him by a few inches, with hair that caught the sunset like fire. Everyone in the colony knew her. She was daring, smart, and always ready to explore places no one else dared. Most boys avoided trying to impress her because she had a sharp mind and a sharper tongue. Aaron, however, had grown up next to her, since she was his best friend's sister. Hi, Leora," Aaron said, his voice quieter than he intended. He had expected her to greet him like always, maybe tease him about his obsession with machines. But instead, she stepped closer, her expression serious, and something about her stance made his stomach tighten. "Aaron, I have a question," she said, her tone unusually calm. "Will you go out with me?" Aaron blinked. The words seemed to float in the air between them. Strange and sudden. He opened his mouth, closed it, and then opened it again. "Go out. With you?" he repeated, trying to understand. "Yes," Leora said, nodding slightly. "I've been thinking about it for a while." 12. Aaron's mind raced. He liked Leora, of course. She was brave, funny, and the smartest person he knew. But he hadn't expected her to ask him something like this. His heart beat faster. He felt a strange mix of excitement and fear. He stammered. Then, remembering something his grandmother used to say, he smiled nervously and said, "Love begins in the heart." Leora stared at him for a moment, clearly confused. And then slowly, a smile spread across her face. It was the same smile she gave when she had a clever plan or discovered something exciting. "That's poetic," she said, tilting her head. "But I don't think I got a proper answer." Aaron shrugged, embarrassed. "It's true, though. I think love does begin in the heart." Leora laughed softly. "You always have a way with words, Aaron. I like that about you." For a moment, the two of them just stood there, watching the sun dip below the horizon, the orange light reflecting off the colony's metal walls. Aaron felt a warmth in his chest. He wasn't sure exactly what this would mean for them, but he felt that whatever it was important. Before he could say anything else, a loud clanging echoed from the main workshop hall. Both of them turned. One of the colony's transport drones had malfunctioned and crashed into a supply crate. Sparks flew, and a small fire started near the fuel containers. "Aaron, quick!" Leora shouted. "We need to put that out before it gets worse." Without thinking, Aaron grabbed a nearby fire extinguisher and ran. Leora followed, her hands steady as she helped guide the spray. Together, they managed to stop the fire before it could spread. The drone lay on the ground, smoking but mostly intact, and Aaron let out a shaky breath. "That was close," he said, brushing soot off his shirt. "Yeah," Leora agreed, her eyes bright. "You handled that really well. I think I've underestimated you sometimes." Aaron laughed nervously. I don't like seeing things burn." "Good," she said with a grin. Because I like having you around. You're clever, Aaron. I like clever people. The two of them walked back to the drone, working side by side as they repaired it. The sky was dark now. Stars beginning to appear. Aaron felt the cool night air on his face and heard the faint hum of the colony's energy grids. It was peaceful, except for the occasional clang of machinery echoing in the distance. You know, Leora said after a moment of silence, I wasn't going to ask anyone else. I wanted to ask you. Aaron looked at her, surprised. Me? Yes, she said simply. You're different from the others. You don't just do things because you're told. You think. You care. You have heart. Aaron's chest tightened again. He wanted to say something clever, something that would show her he understood, but all he could do was nod. Thanks, Leora, he said softly. She smiled again, a quiet, warm smile. You don't have to answer me right now. I just wanted you to know. They worked on the drone until the colony lights flickered on, signaling night. The metal frame of the drone gleamed under the artificial light. Aaron checked the circuits one last time, feeling satisfied. It would fly again tomorrow, carrying supplies across the rugged terrain of their mining sector. As they cleaned up, Leora glanced at him. You know, Aaron, sometimes the right person isn't the one you expect, but maybe the one who's been next to you all along. Aaron felt his heart skip a beat. He wanted to say more, but he wasn't sure what words could capture the way he felt. He smiled, instead, and said nothing. The night settled over Colony Delta, quiet except for the hum of machinery and the distant wind sweeping across the spires. Aaron looked at Leora one last time before she left the workshop, her silhouette framed by the glow of the lights. He felt a sense of anticipation, a feeling that life was about to change in ways he couldn't yet imagine. And somehow, deep down, he knew she was right. Love did begin in the heart. And maybe, just maybe, their story was about to start. As he finally turned off the lights and walked back to his small quarters, Aaron couldn't help but feel a spark of hope and excitement. He glanced out at the stars, scattered across the sky like tiny diamonds. Somewhere out there, across the vast reaches of space, humans were building, exploring, and surviving. And here he was, in a quiet corner of a small colony, beginning a story that might one day echo across the stars. For the first time in a long while, Aaron felt completely alive. The morning sun rose over Colony Delta, spilling pale gold light across the metal spires and dust-filled streets. Aaron sat on the edge of his quarters, staring at the small tablet in his hands. It was a communication device, simple, but efficient, and it was buzzing with a message from the colony command center. He opened it with a frown. Distress alert. Unidentified fleet. Approaching. All available personnel. Report for assessment. Aaron's heart skipped a beat. The colony had experienced minor meteor strikes and equipment failures before. But this was different. A fleet? From the words on the tablet, it sounded big, organized, and dangerous. He ran down the narrow hallways of the colony toward the command center, passing miners, engineers, and children who waved at him as he hurried by. Leora was already there, leaning casually against a console, her hair pulled back and a determined glint in her eyes. Good morning, Aaron, she said, smirking. Didn't expect you to be fast today. Fast enough, Aaron replied breathlessly. He showed her the tablet. Look at this. A fleet. Approaching. The command says all available personnel are needed. Leora's eyes widened, but only for a moment. She stepped forward and tapped her own device. It's not just small ships. They're organized. Maybe scouting, maybe more. Either way, we have to act. Aaron swallowed. He had never been on a mission like this. He had flown drones and repaired mining bots, But actual combat or exploration beyond colony borders? That was new. We can't just wait for them to arrive, Leora said, her voice steady. We need reconnaissance. Find out who they are, what they want, and if possible, slow them down. Aaron hesitated. You want us? Just the two of us? Leora grinned. Not just us. I've gathered a team, but I want you with me, Aaron. You're clever. You can think of solutions on the fly. And, well, you're already part of my story, right? Aaron's face heated. He looked down at his boots, muttering, I guess. The command center buzzed with activity. Screens displayed the approaching fleet, shapes like metallic insects, moving in strange formations. Analysts and engineers worked quickly, trying to interpret the signals coming from the ships. Some ships appeared small and nimble, others massive and heavily armored. Colonel Rask, a tall, stern man with streaks of gray in his hair, stepped forward. We have little time. They are scanning our sector. If we don't respond, they may strike first. I am assigning reconnaissance teams to intercept and analyze. Volunteers? Leora raised her hand immediately. We're ready, sir. Aaron felt his stomach twist. He had never volunteered for anything dangerous. But when he looked at Leora, calm and determined, he felt something inside him awaken. The same spark that made him repair drones, explore strange tech, and help others. It was telling him that this was the right moment. He raised his hand as well. The colonel nodded. Good. Take care. Minimal engagement unless absolutely necessary. Bring us information. You are the first line of defense. Aaron and Leora quickly prepared. They boarded a small reconnaissance craft, sleek and fast, with just enough armor to protect against minor attacks. The craft's interior hummed with energy, and Aaron felt a thrill. He had flown drones in simulation hundreds of times. But this was real. Leora took the co-pilot seat, her hands moving over the controls confidently. Ready? She asked. Aaron nodded. As I'll ever be. They launched from the colony, leaving behind the safety of its walls. The stars stretched out in every direction, and the approaching fleet loomed like shadows against the black sky. Aaron felt a shiver of awe and fear. Humans had settled far, far from Earth, spreading across the galaxy. Yet there were still unknowns out there, powerful, mysterious, and possibly dangerous. Sensors detect multiple active energy signatures, Leora said, scanning the displays. They're moving in formation. Looks like they're trying to scan our colony from a distance. Aaron leaned over her shoulder. Can we slow them? Maybe. We need to stay unnoticed for now, get close enough to analyze their signals, Leora explained. Then we can report back and plan a strategy. The craft glided through asteroid fields and debris fields, silent except for the hum of the engines. Aaron kept a hand on the control panel, ready to assist. Every instinct told him to stay focused, to think logically, and to trust in human ingenuity. Suddenly, a burst of light flashed across the sensors. One of the fleet's scouts had detected something unusual nearby. They've noticed us, Aaron said, panic rising. Leora's eyes narrowed. Stay calm. We can handle this. Trust your mind. Trust your heart. Her words, echoing his earlier answer about love beginning in the heart, gave him courage. He focused, analyzing the readings and looking for patterns. Humans had survived in countless harsh environments. Icy moons, deserts, and starships drifting through deep space. Aaron realized that human survival was not just about strength, but about creativity, teamwork, and courage. Energy readings unstable, Aaron reported. I think we can use the asteroid field to our advantage. They won't maneuver as well as we do. Leora nodded. Good. Plot a course. We'll get close, collect data, and retreat. Minimal risk, maximum gain. The craft weaved expertly through massive rocks, dodging sudden obstacles and narrow gaps. The alien scouts struggled to follow, their larger frames clanging against debris. Aaron felt a rush of pride. Humans were small, but smart. They could outthink a more powerful opponent. After several tense minutes, they reached a position behind one of the largest asteroids. Aaron activated the scanner and collected data on the fleet, their formations, communication patterns, and energy pulses. Every detail mattered. Every piece of information could save the colony. "We've got what we need," Leora said, a small smile breaking through her concentration. "Let's get back." The return journey was not easy. One of the fleet's larger ships had noticed the unusual energy readings and began moving toward them. Leora pushed the craft to its limits, dodging energy bursts and navigating through tighter spaces. Aaron assisted, calculating angles, speeds, and trajectories. Together, they moved with precision, a seamless team in the chaos of space. Finally, they broke free of the asteroid field and headed back to Colony Delta. The fleet followed briefly, but eventually slowed, confused by the humans' ingenuity. "Human cleverness," Aaron muttered, still catching his breath. "We really do have a way of surprising them." Leora laughed softly. "And that's why I wanted you with me, Aaron. You see patterns, think ahead, and stay calm under pressure. That's rare." When they landed, the colony erupted with excitement and relief. The data they brought back was crucial. Scientists analyzed the information and discovered a vulnerability in the fleet's formation, a slow communication delay that humans could exploit. Colonel Rask shook Aaron's hand firmly. "Well done," he said. "Your courage and intelligence may have saved lives today." Aaron felt a strange pride. Not just for himself, but for humans as a whole. Small, fragile beings in a vast galaxy, yet capable of outsmarting larger, stronger foes. He realized that the story he had once thought of as just his own, his friendship with Leora, his love for machines, his quiet life, was now part of something bigger. Humans, with heart, courage, and ingenuity, could face the unknown and survive. Leora walked beside him as they returned to the workshop. Not just smart, but brave. Aaron smiled, feeling a warmth he had never felt before. "We were amazing," he corrected gently. "Together. That's the point, right? Humans survive together." Leora looked at him, her eyes softening. The stars outside twinkled in silent approval, and Aaron realized that the galaxy was vast, mysterious, and full of challenges. But humans had something the aliens didn't: heart, courage, and the will to survive. And with friends like Leora by his side, he felt ready for anything. As night fell over the colony, Aaron knew that this was only the beginning. Bigger challenges were coming, and humans would have to rise to meet them. But for now, he allowed himself a small moment of quiet triumph, watching the stars and feeling the strength of the human spirit in his chest. Tomorrow, the adventure would continue, but tonight, he and Leora had proven that humans, though small, could make a difference in the galaxy. The colony of Delta had barely begun to recover from the initial panic. Aaron stood on the observation deck, staring at the sky where the alien fleet had once loomed. The stars were bright tonight, but a faint shimmer in the distance reminded everyone that the unknown was never far away. Leora joined him, carrying 2 small cups of synthesized coffee. She handed one to Aaron, her eyes scanning the horizon. "We got the data we needed, but this is only the beginning," she said. Aaron took a sip, savoring the warmth. "I know. The scientists said the fleet has a weak communication delay, but it's risky. If we try to exploit it, we could be the first line of fire." Leora smiled faintly. "Humans take risks. That's how we survive. That's how we win." Aaron looked at her, thinking about the words he had said to her long ago. Love begins in the heart. Now, he realized, It was not just about romance. It was about courage, determination, and spirit. Humans survived because they dared to act, even when danger was close. Colonel Rask approached, his face serious but proud. Aaron, Leora. The scientists have a plan. We can disrupt the fleet's formation, using their own communication delay. It requires a small craft to approach the command ship and deliver a signal that will confuse their coordination. Aaron swallowed. A small craft? That sounds dangerous. It is, the colonel admitted. But with your skills, you two are our best option. The craft is nimble and can navigate tight spaces better than any drone or fighter. Leora looked at Aaron, her expression calm but determined. We can do this. Together. Aaron nodded, feeling a strange mix of fear and excitement. Together, he echoed. The craft they were assigned to was small, sleek, and designed for agility. It looked almost fragile compared to the massive alien ships. But Aaron trusted its design. As they climbed inside, Leora checked the systems with precise efficiency. Fuel, navigation, weapons, she muttered, ticking boxes in her mind. All ready. Aaron stared at the controls, hands hovering uncertainly. I've flown drones. But this is different. You'll be fine, Leora said softly. He nodded. Somehow, knowing she was beside him made the fear easier to manage. They had faced panic before, but this felt bigger. The unknown was not just about alien ships, it was about how humans would rise to meet it. As they launched into space, the stars stretched endlessly around them. The alien fleet appeared ahead, moving in tight formation. Aaron's heart pounded, but he focused on his training and instincts. We'll take the asteroid field route again, Leora said, pointing to a path lined with massive rocks. It's narrow, but they can't maneuver as well as us. If we stay low and fast, we can reach the command ship. Aaron nodded, guiding the craft carefully. Every movement required precision. One wrong turn, and they could be crushed or detected. But humans had a way of thriving in impossible situations. It was in their nature to adapt, to improvise, to survive. They slipped through the asteroid field, weaving between rocks and avoiding energy pulses from patrolling scouts. Aaron's mind worked quickly, calculating angles and speeds, anticipating every movement. Leora called out directions, their teamwork seamless. We're close, Leora said, pointing to a massive ship at the center of the fleet. Its metallic surface glimmered, reflecting starlight like a giant jewel. That's the command ship. Aaron's palms were sweaty, but he held steady. Signal device ready, he said. How do we deliver it? Leora tapped a few controls. We'll attach it to the hull and send the interference pulse. It should scramble their communication for a short time, enough for the colony defenses to act. The craft moved closer, shadows of the alien fleet looming around them. One scout noticed movement and fired a pulse of energy. Aaron twisted the controls, dodging just in time. The pulse hit a nearby asteroid and exploded in sparks. Nice reflexes, Leora said, smiling briefly. Keep going. Aaron felt a surge of pride. Humans were small, fragile beings in a vast galaxy, but they had something the aliens did not: ingenuity, courage, and determination. Even in fear, they acted. That was the heart of humanity. They reached the command ship. Leora guided the craft to a point where the device could be attached. Aaron worked quickly, securing the small signal transmitter to the hull. Sparks flew as the device activated. A pulse of energy ran through the alien fleet's network, scrambling their coordination. The ships wobbled, then collided slightly, creating confusion. The aliens fired blindly into space, unable to communicate effectively. Leora laughed softly. We did it. Now let's get out. Before they notice us fully. The return journey was tense. One of the larger alien ships detected them and began a pursuit. Leora maneuvered through a narrow gap between asteroids, and Aaron adjusted the speed and trajectory. Every second counted. Every decision mattered. Finally, they cleared the asteroid field and headed back to Colony Delta. The alien command ship struggled to regain control, giving the colony's defense forces the advantage. The humans had turned the tide with courage, brains, and teamwork. When they landed, the colony erupted in cheers. Scientists analyzed the data and confirmed that the interference had caused chaos in the alien fleet, slowing them down and preventing a direct attack. Colonel Rask shook Aaron's hand firmly. "Well done," he said. "You two just saved countless lives. This is the heart of humanity: cleverness, bravery, and teamwork." Aaron smiled, feeling proud but humbled. "It wasn't just me. Leora helped. We worked together." She laughed softly. "We did. Humans survived together." The two of them walked to the observation deck, staring at the distant stars. The alien fleet had retreated, but their presence remained a reminder of the unknown. Aaron realized that humans were small in the vast galaxy, but their spirit, courage, and ingenuity made them strong. Leora looked at him, her eyes bright. Aaron felt warmth in his chest. "I learned from you," he said. "You guided me, trusted me. That's what made it work." "Aaron," she smiled. A soft, quiet smile that made him feel connected. "Humans survive because we trust each other, Aaron. That's why I wanted you with me. Heart and mind, together." He thought of the words he had said long ago. Love begins in the heart. He realized, that day, the same words applied to humanity as a whole. Humans survived, explored, and thrived not because of strength alone, but because of courage, heart, and connection. As night fell over Colony Delta, Aaron felt a sense of pride. They had faced danger and prevailed. Humans were small, fragile, but their spirit was unbreakable. And with friends, allies, and courage, they could face any challenge the galaxy threw at them. Leora leaned against his shoulder, and he didn't mind. Together, they watched the stars, feeling the warmth of friendship, courage, and heart. Tomorrow would bring new challenges, but tonight was a victory, a reminder that humans, even in the darkest corners of space, could shine brightly. And somewhere deep in the stars, Aaron felt that humanity's story was just beginning. The morning sun rose over Colony Delta once more, painting the sky in shades of pink and gold. The colony was alive with energy. Humans were repairing, organizing, and celebrating quietly. Though the alien fleet had retreated, the threat had left its mark. The colony had survived, and it had survived because of the courage and cleverness of its people. Aaron stood at the edge of the central plaza, looking at the repair crews working on the damaged structures and drones. His chest swelled with pride, not just for himself, but for humanity. Humans were small, fragile beings in the vast galaxy. Yet they had survived, fought, and outsmarted a fleet much larger and stronger than they were. Leora approached him, carrying a tablet with updates from the colony command. She looked calm and collected, as always, but Aaron noticed a quiet joy in her eyes. "The fleet's retreat is holding. Scouts report no new ships near the system," she said. "For now, we're safe." Aaron nodded, smiling. "We did it, Leora. Together." She smiled back. "Yes, together. And that's what matters. Humans survive together, not alone." Colonel Rask gathered the key personnel in the command center to debrief the mission. Irene and Leora were seated at the front, their small craft parked nearby. Scientists displayed holographic maps of the alien fleet's formation and explained how the interference pulse had caused chaos in their communication. "Thanks to your bravery and quick thinking, The colony was never at serious risk, Colonel Rask said. You have shown the best of humanity: intelligence, courage, and the ability to act under pressure. Aaron felt a warmth in his chest. It was not pride alone, it was a deep satisfaction that humans, even in the most dangerous situations, could rise to meet challenges. They were clever, determined, and unyielding. That was the heart of humanity. Leora leaned over and whispered, "See? I told you humans could handle anything." Aaron laughed softly. "And you were right." Later, as the day progressed, the colony held a small ceremony to honor the brave volunteers. Engineers, miners, and pilots gathered, clapping and cheering. Aaron felt a mixture of embarrassment and pride. He had never imagined that his tinkering skills and calm thinking could save lives. Leora stood beside him during the ceremony, smiling as the crowd praised their efforts. Aaron glanced at her, and for the first time, he felt something beyond friendship, a quiet, growing affection. He remembered the day she had asked him to go out with her, and how he had answered, "Love begins in the heart." Now he understood the truth of those words. Love, courage, and connection all began in the heart, and humans survived because of it. After the ceremony, Leora and Aaron walked to the observation deck. The stars twinkled above, serene and endless. Aaron leaned against the railing, feeling the cool metal under his hands, and looked at the distant galaxies. "You know," Leora said softly, "I never doubted humans could survive. But seeing it, it's different. Seeing you, all of us, it makes me proud." Aaron smiled. "It's amazing, isn't it? How small we are in the universe, but how much we can do if we work together." She nodded, her eyes reflecting the stars. "And sometimes, the right people make all the difference." Aaron felt a rush of courage. He had spent so long admiring her from afar, unsure of what to say. But tonight, he realized that what mattered most was honesty, heart, and trust. "Leora, I'm glad it was you who asked me before," he said quietly. I think I understand now. Love really does begin in the heart." Leora's eyes softened, and she smiled. "I'm glad, Aaron." Aaron felt warmth spread through his chest. It wasn't just pride or happiness, it was a deep connection, the kind that humans carried in their hearts and shared with each other. They stood together in silence, letting the stars speak for them, letting the galaxy witness the courage and heart of humanity. The days that followed were busy, but not frightening. Humans repaired, upgraded, and strengthened the colony's defenses. Aaron worked alongside engineers, sharing his knowledge of drones and machinery. Leora supervised scouting missions, her sharp mind ensuring no threat could approach unnoticed. At night, they would meet on the observation deck, sharing stories, laughter, and quiet moments. Their bond grew not just as friends, not just as allies, but as two people who understood the strength of heart, courage, and connection. One evening, after a long day of work, Leora turned to Aaron. "Do you remember what you said when I asked you to go out with me?" Aaron chuckled. "Yes, love begins in the heart." Leora smiled warmly. "I like that answer. It's simple, but true. And it's not just about us. It's about everything humans do, the way we care, the way we fight, the way we survive. That's love, Aaron." Aaron nodded, feeling the truth in her words. Humans were small, fragile, and yet astonishingly resilient. Their hearts guided them, their courage drove them, and their connections made them stronger. "Leora, I think I understand now," he said softly. "We can face anything, together, because our heart is bigger than fear." She reached out, holding his hand gently. "Yes, Aaron. Together." Weeks passed. The colony thrived. The alien fleet had vanished beyond the stars, leaving humanity to grow, explore, and survive. Aaron and Leora continued to work side by side, building drones, repairing systems, and planning for the future. The colony's people looked to them as examples of courage and heart, proof that humans could rise to any challenge. One evening, the sky lit up with the auroras of a nearby gas giant. Aaron and Leora sat together, watching the colors dance across the heavens. Aaron felt a peace he had never known. The universe was vast, mysterious, and sometimes dangerous. But it was also full of wonder, hope, and connection. "Do you think humans will ever stop exploring?" Aaron asked quietly. Leora laughed softly. "Not a chance. Humans will always seek, always learn, always survive. And they will do it with heart." Aaron smiled, squeezing her hand. "Then let's make sure we're ready for anything." "Yes," she said, resting her head on his shoulder. The stars sparkled above them, endless and full of promise. Aaron realized that humans were small, yes, but their spirit was limitless. With courage, heart, and connection, they could survive, thrive, and leave their mark on the galaxy. And in that moment, Aaron understood the full meaning of his words. Love begins in the heart. Not just romantic love, but love for others, love for life, and love for the courage to face the unknown. It was the essence of humanity. He looked at Leora, smiled, and whispered, "Together, we can do anything." She smiled back, her eyes shining like the stars. "Yes, Aaron, together." And as the colony slept under the glow of distant suns, two hearts beat with hope, courage, and the endless spirit of humanity, ready to face whatever the universe might bring. The adventure had tested them, challenged them, and shown them the vastness of space and danger. But it had also shown them the most important truth. Humans were small, fragile, yet unstoppable, when guided by heart, courage, and connection. And with that truth, the story of Aaron, Leora, and the colony of Delta continued bright, hopeful, and full of life among the stars.